the horrifying fight between Norman Hunter and Francis Lee. This wasn't just a bit of pushing. It was a full-on brawl, played endlessly on Match of the Day. Fans were shocked, and to this day, it remains one of the most infamous clashes in football history. Football has seen its fair share of rivalries, fierce battles between players. First have to know who these two men were. Both brilliant footballers in their own right, but also fierce competitors with fiery tempers. Francis Lee was the kind of player who never backed down from a challenge. A stocky, powerful forward with an incredible knack for scoring goals, he was a key player for Manchester City in the late 1960s and early 70s. Lee was known for his determination, sharp finishing, and a reputation for, let's just say, winning penalties rather easily. Defenders feared him, not just because he could score, but because he was tough, aggressive, and never afraid to stand his ground. He wasn't the biggest player, but he made up for it with his strength and sheer willpower. Lee played a crucial role in Manchester City's success, helping them win the league title in 1968, the FA Cup in 1969, and both the League Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup in 1970. He was the kind of player who gave everything on the pitch, and that same fiery spirit often led to clashes with opponents. He fought for every ball, never backed down from a challenge, and always played to win. His drive and passion made him a hero to City fans and a nightmare for defenders. Then there was Norman Hunter, a name that still sends shivers down the spines of older football fans. A rock-solid defender for Leeds United, Hunter was as tough as they came. He wasn't just a great defender, he was an enforcer, the kind of player who made life miserable for strikers. His nickname, Bites Your Legs. Hunter wasn't just for show, he was ruthless in tackles, a master of the dark arts of defending, and always willing to get physical. Opponents knew that if they faced Hunter, they were in for a battle. Hunter was a crucial part of Don Revie's legendary Leeds United team, winning league titles, FA Cups, and European trophies. He played with incredible skill, but his reputation was built on his toughness. He wasn't dirty in the reckless sense. He just played on the edge, making sure attackers knew they wouldn't have an easy day against him. He was strong, fearless, and always ready to put his body on the line for the team. His presence alone was enough to make strikers nervous, and that was exactly how he liked it. Naturally, when a player like Francis Lee met a defender like Norman Hunter, sparks were bound to fly. By 1975, both players were nearing the end of their careers. Francis Lee had moved from Manchester City to Derby County, while Hunter was still patrolling the Leeds defence. Their teams were still major rivals, and when they met on the pitch, there was no love lost. Before their infamous clash, tensions had already been building. Lee had a history of going down easily under challenges, something that annoyed defenders, especially ones like Hunter. Leeds and Derby had a fierce rivalry, and then came that fateful day, November 1st, 1975, Derby County versus Leeds United, a match that would go down in history for all the wrong reasons. The moment that sparked it all was a challenge. Hunter caught Lee with a tackle, and Lee, never one to take things lightly, reacted immediately. At first, a turn for the worse. Hunter landed a punch on Lee, and instead of walking away, Lee came back swinging. And this wasn't a quick scuffle that teammates could break up. It was a full-blown fistfight. Lee charged at Hunter, throwing punches with everything as the two players went at it, refusing to stop. Even the referee and other the players, even the managers. It took everyone to separate the two men. But the damage was done. Blood had been spilled, literally. Hunter had a cut under his eye, and both men were furious, leaving the pitch in disgrace. But the fight didn't stop there. It was played over and over on Match of the Day, shocking fans across the country. This wasn't just a bit of pushing and shoving. It was a full-on, gloves-off battle. Both players faced heavy criticism. They were fined, suspended, and completely out of control. For Lee, This was a stain on an otherwise brilliant career. He had been a top-class forward, a legend at Manchester City, and a key part of England's 1970 World Cup squad. But now, many remembered him for this fight rather than his goals. It was unfair in many ways because his talent and achievements deserved more recognition. For Hunter, it only added to his reputation as a hard man. He was already feared, but now he was seen as a player who could lose control. It was a shame because, behind his tough exterior, he was also an incredibly skilled defender who had won the PFA Player of the Year award just a year earlier. He wasn't just about rough tackles. He was a leader, a strong presence at the back, and a key figure in Leeds United's success. For years, this incident defined their relationship. It seemed like these two men would always be enemies, forever linked by that ugly moment. But time has a way of softening even the fiercest rivalries. As the years passed, both men moved on from football. Lee became a successful businessman, even serving as chairman of Manchester City for a time. Hunter stayed in football as a coach and pundit, always respected for his knowledge of the game. Years after their fight, the two were brought together at an event, and instead of old tensions flaring up, they shared a laugh about their infamous clash. They even shook hands, posing for photos, and acknowledging that, in the heat of the moment, things had gotten out of hand. What once seemed like an unforgivable feud had turned into something they could look back on with a bit of humour. They may never have been best friends, but they understood each other. Both were fierce competitors. Both had given everything for their teams, and in the end, that mutual respect won out. The fight between Francis Lee and Norman Hunter remains one of the most talked about moments in football history. It was ugly, horrifying, and Lee was a brilliant goalscorer, a key figure in Manchester City's golden era, and one of the most determined forwards of his generation. Hunter was a defensive giant, a cornerstone of Leeds United's dominance, and one of the toughest defenders English football has ever seen. Yes, they fought. Yes, it was ugly. But in the end, their legacy is far greater than that one moment of madness. They were warriors of their time, players who gave everything on the pitch, and, in a way, that's why their fight became so legendary, because it wasn't just about anger, it was about passion, about refusing to back down, about playing football. Today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.